people were wondering why Darby Allin brought out a body bag during his ring entrance tonight in the main event against Jon Moxley. Little did we know that he was literally going to need said body bag by the end of the night and physically need it for himself as they carry him out, or whatever is left of him in the ring, out of Indianapolis. A paradigm shift off the second turnbuckle by Jon Moxley ends Darby Allin in what was a really fun main event on AEW Dynamite. Holy shit. One of the most brutal spots I think I've seen all year in 2019. I think they're still scraping Darby Allin up off the ring mat on TNT. Unbelievable spot. Really fun match. Really fun show tonight, which did a really great job to set up what is looking to be a tremendous show from Chicago in the Sears Center next week for AEW Dynamite. That place is going to be absolutely bonkers. Chicago's going to bring it. It's funny, man. WWE is leaving Chicago on Monday night, and AEW is arriving on Wednesday morning, or probably Tuesday night, whichever. So WWE is there for Survivor Series and NXT, Raw and Smackdown, and then when WWE's week is over, in comes AEW for Dynamite. That should be a unbelievable show from the Sears Center, and that crowd is going to bring it. Tremendous job that they did to set up next week's show. Tonight we got Jon Moxley and Darby Allin. Jon Moxley is looking like Brock Lesnar in not in a typical fashion that you would say Brock Lesnar is dominant, oh my god, but Jon Moxley remains undefeated. Jon Moxley remains untouchable. Jon Moxley remains dominant. That is great. That's a great thing to see. We're going to go over Jon Moxley and his winning ways today and why he could be the next in line to be the AEW World Heavyweight Champion. Really fun main event with those two guys. Like I said, Kenny Omega and Pac. That was announced for next week. They hyped his return coming back to AEW. We got Nick Jackson and Fenix in the opening match of tonight's show. Unbelievable. Just a true testament to how good those guys really are. Unbelievable match between those two. We had the Dynamite Battle Royal for the Diamond Ring. We had 12 guys in that ring. The final two will battle next week in Chicago for the AEW Diamond Ring, which we still have no information on. I am frantically seeking information on this thing. If you guys have any information on it, I would love to know, because I don't know what's going on with said Diamond Ring. So the last two competitors in the ring will do battle next week in Chicago for the AEW Dynamite Diamond Ring. And then a great tribute to the late Matt Travis from Proud and Powerful, Santana and Ortiz, Private Party, Mark Quinn, and Isaiah Cassidy. They did Matt Travis proud. Matt Travis, no question, looking down on Dynamite tonight with a huge smile on his face. He is very proud and powerful after tonight. Unbelievable match between those two teams, which we'll go over right here on the podcast. Thank you guys so very much for joining me tonight on Wednesday. It is November 20th, 2019. This is your official AEW Dynamite review right here on Off The Script. Make sure you guys follow me on social media, man, at JD from NY206, and on Twitter and Instagram. Either one. If you guys have both, that's fantastic. If you guys have one or the other, that's great. That's also fine as well, but I'm mostly on Twitter. Make sure you guys go and follow me all over social media if you can. I would greatly appreciate it. We are nearing 30,000 followers on Twitter, and we are just about at 8,000 followers on the IG, so thank you guys so very much for that. We had a great year on social media, looking to make 2020 even better. Make sure you guys check out all the other videos that you might have missed on the channel. We got Off The Script episode 300. I still don't believe I've been here for 300 podcasts every single weekend. Parts 1 and 2, Friday and Saturday. Make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. Really great topics over there. We talk about CM Punk on Friday, and then on Saturday, we talk about Roman Reigns defending the clown, Seth Rollins on Monday Night Raw with the negative fan reaction that he's been getting. I can't wait to see him get shit on in Chicago. He's doing himself an absolute murder right now with Seth Rollins. If you don't think the fans in Chicago are picking up on what he's saying about CM Punk calling CM Punk a coward just mere days before the Survivor Series, bro, Chicago is going to eat you alive. I can't wait. And Mrs. Lynch isn't going to be able to save you, bro. Can't wait. Out of everything on Sunday at Survivor Series, I'm going to be looking forward to the lynching that Seth Rollins is going to get in Chicago. So make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out. Plus, the Monday Night Raw review and the AEW Off The Script Elite number 8 podcast. Make sure you guys go and check all that stuff out down in the description of this very video. If you guys want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys can certainly do that as well. Please do so. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And tonight, the podcast is brought to you by Audible. audibletrial.com/Off The Script. You guys can get 30 days free of their service and 1 free audiobook of your choice. I've been pushing Mayor Kane. That book is coming out at the end of the month. It's going to be retailing for $29.99. It's 8 hours long. It's going to be narrated by Glenn Jacobs himself. You guys can actually pre-order that book before it even comes out using our unique link, audibletrial.com/Off The Script. If you guys feel like Audible's not for you, you just want to get something for free, you want to sign up and support the podcast, you guys can do all that. You can cancel in the 30 days and still get to keep your audiobook for free. That is a great deal, man. You can't beat that. Over 200,000 choices to choose from, a lot of which are sports and wrestling related. It doesn't have to be sports or wrestling. It could be anything. With 200,000 choices, you guys got a lot to choose from. Great way to support me and the podcast, guys. So check out my friends over at Audible, audibletrial.com/Off The Script. So Dynamite tonight was live from the Indiana Farmers Coliseum in Indianapolis, Indiana. This crowd was hot. This crowd was hot all night, so good on you guys in Indianapolis. It's a common theme with all these crowds on Wednesday night for Dynamite. What is also a common theme is that AEW still can't get the sheer basics of their programming correct. Now, I don't want to sit here and spend too much time on this, but I know I am not the only one who thought this. If you didn't hear it, maybe you should clean your ears out. I was watching Dynamite tonight, and immediately I just noticed, and I watch my shows on the same volume every week. It's not my TV, it's not me, it's not my ears, I'm not getting old. I may have gray in my beard, but I'm not old by any stretch. I still have my hearing, I still have 20/20 vision, bro, believe me. I'm watching Dynamite tonight, and it just seems just super loud for whatever reason. Now, the crowd is usually loud anyway, but they were as if they were 15,000 strong at the Indiana Farmers Coliseum. Now, I'm watching this, and I'm hearing the crowd, and I'm hearing the theme music, and I'm hearing Ray Fenix, and I'm hearing Nick Jackson come out to the ring. But I also hear Excalibur, Tony Schiavone, and Jim Ross, and they're buried underneath all these other layers of sound on TNT. I'm going to say this once, and I'm going to say it again. Somebody in AEW, whether it's Cody, whether it's Tony, whether it's the truck, please, don't have me go call Kevin Dunn and give you guys a fucking lesson over there. It's got to be fixed, and it's got to be rectified. Now, they fixed all the other issues that were plaguing their show, from the growing stages, or the beginning stages, the growing pains, I should say. The beginning stages of Dynamite. The theme music was too low, they fixed that. The overall volume of the show was too loud, they fixed that. Now, it seemed like the commentary, which I always pay attention to, and when Excalibur is speaking, and when Tony Schiavone is speaking, and when Jim Ross is speaking, I want to listen to what they have to say, because they could be giving us some vital information that I haven't seen on a dirt sheet or a website, as it pertains exactly to the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal, and what the Diamond Ring really is supposed to be on AEW television. Though we didn't get an explanation for that, I'm just using that as an example. I could not hear them at all. They were buried underneath all these other layers of sound. So please, for the love of God, next week when they go into Chicago, can we get this right? This should have been something that should have been ironed out in week 2. The crowd volume is too loud. They don't need to be, 4,000 strong in Indianapolis sounding like 30. Okay? 30,000. And the commentary needs to be on par with our hearing levels, because I don't want to have to act like an 80-year-old man with my ear to the TV trying to listen what the commentary's trying to say. So please fix it next week. That's all I have to say about that. I know I'm not the only one who suffered that problem. It was just a show-wide thing. They never fixed it. And I actually tweeted the AEW official Twitter account. Nobody listens to me. So what am I going to do? Hopefully it's fixed next week. Another thing I don't want to harp on it. It's just one of those things that I noticed during the Britt Baker match with Hikaru Shida. I don't know what it is with the theme music. Like, someone will come out, for example. Britt Baker came out and she made her ring entrance. First, she was in the ring, and then Hikaru Shida came out. I don't know if you guys, maybe I'm being nitpicky tonight. I don't know. I'm sorry. I apologize for all these AEW fans who might be listening to me and thinking I'm some fucking lunatic. But I like things to be particular. I pay attention to things. WWE doesn't do it. So when Britt Baker came out, her music just dead stopped. There's no fade out, you know? There's no nice fade out, and then the opponent's music hits. It just comes to a dead halt, and then they go into the next theme music, the opponent's theme music. It's like, can't we get a nice transition, have it come down, you know, have it die down a little bit, give Britt Baker a couple of seconds to just live in the moment and eat up the crowd, and then hit her opponent's theme music. It just comes to a dead stop, and then boom, there you go, Hikaru Shida. Things like that. It's very WCW-esque. WCW used to do that. You know, WWE, you know, I'm not going to sit here and stroke their cock over AEW, but WWE's production is the best production in the world. You know, you can't really touch that. So these are some of the things that I noticed tonight, and I hope AEW fixes them moving forward. So that's all I have to say about that. Let's get into the opening match, because you guys probably think I'm a fucking lunatic by complaining about these little things that might not be important to you, but they're important to me. Rey Fenix and Nick Jackson. Surprise, surprise, these guys had a great match. That's like asking me, oh, Mr. JD, would you like a second round of Guinness at the bar? What are you, fucking stupid? Pour me the fucking beer, man. What kind of question is that? You know? These guys had a great match. Oh, yeah. Like nobody knew that they were going to have a great match tonight on Dynamite. Now, Matt Jackson is out. He got powerbombed by Santana and Ortiz through the stage. He's gone. Don't know how long he's going to be out. For those worrying, oh my God, he's injured. It's storyline injury, so don't worry about that. Rey Fenix and Nick Jackson tonight in the opening match. I don't know if this is going to be important towards their overall tag team standings. I'm not sure. But if Nick Jackson wants a singles run at any point in his career, he's got my vote of confidence for sure. This was awesome. This was awesome. And it's like a typical AEW thing every single week. They give you a caliber pay-per-view match or a pay-per-view caliber quality match to open the show. This was fantastic. You could have slotted this on any pay-per-view to open a pay-per-view, and this would have been a fucking 4.5-star match. This was fantastic. Fenix is just not human. I can't even find the words in the English language to describe what Rey Fenix does in the middle of that ring. I don't think anybody could do that. WWE foolishly has Humberto Carrillo trying to do what Rey Fenix does, and I laugh. I laugh on Monday nights while I smile on Wednesdays. And then Nick and Matt are just tremendous athletes. I mean, their offense is just as explosive as anybody in the business. Fenix in a pair of springboard headbutts. Then he walks the top rope. He walks the top rope and delivers an arm drag. Nick missed a dive to the floor, and Fenix hit a beautiful cutter on the outside. And then Fenix connected with a senton for a near fall in the ring. Fenix missed a rope walk kick, and he went for a punt kick off the rope walk. Nick hit a series of kicks and used knee strikes for a 2 count. They, at the same time, hit super kicks on each other. Nick hit a springboard Frankensteiner for a near fall. They traded super kicks. Both went down. Crowd is going crazy at this point. Fenix hit a rope walk. If this is in the notes, this is exactly what happened. Rey Fenix is not human. The guy walks the top rope as if it's second nature to him. The guy's not, he's not normal. He's not normal. He had a rope walking, flying head scissors to the floor. Nick hit a kick on Fenix. Fenix then responded with a cutter for a near fall in the ring. They exchanged strikes back and forth, strikes and kicks on the apron. Nick hit a German suplex on Fenix on the apron. Then a springboard face buster on the inside. And Fenix and his head was planted onto the mat. Nick then hit a springboard Canadian Destroyer for a 2 count. He must have been watching fucking Ricky Morton. Or maybe he was in the building at House of Glory No Limit to see Ricky Morton do yet another Canadian Destroyer in a triple threat match in the main event of No Limit for House of Glory. Either way, you got the Canadian Destroyer being brought out. He only got a 2 count on Rey Fenix for that beautiful Canadian Destroyer. Nick then used a sharpshooter. Fenix reached the ropes for a break. Nick tried for a tombstone, but Fenix pulled him into a cradle for a 2 count. Then we get to the finish. Fenix hit a crazy springboard roundhouse kick in the corner. I can't even fucking describe it to you because you got to go out and watch it. Then he uses a muscle buster for the pin. Nick then offered a handshake at the end of the match, and Rey Fenix says, "No, I am not shaking your hand," and walks away. So what does this mean? 2 things. Fenix is a beast. Nobody could be like Rey Fenix. And both Matt and Nick Jackson in this situation, the Young Bucks together as a tag team, they are legitimately putting everybody else before themselves. And that is a thing of beauty when you watch AEW wrestling. Now, it's not going to be like that forever. The Young Bucks are probably going to get their chance to shine. They're probably going to be tag team champions at some point. They're going to be back to their winning ways when Matt Jackson gets back. This is not going to be a surprise to anybody, even though there'll be fucking parasites on social media. Oh, look at the AEW EVPs giving themselves the championship. Meanwhile, the first 9 weeks of AEW television will have been a distant memory to these fucking people. The Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson, are putting everybody else over before they sit down at the dinner table and give themselves a bite to eat. That is what I call fucking great. Now, when you look back at their career and you look back at their just entire catalog of what they did, you're going to look back at this time period. You're going to look back at this era and think, man, the Young Bucks were selfless in just putting everybody else over. This is going to make them look that much better at the end of their careers because they went into this thing by wanting it to succeed, and they knew they had to get everybody else over. They're made men. They knew that with every victory over them, that it was going to help everybody else in their division, on their roster, move just a little bit up the ladder in AEW. This is a thing of beauty, and you cannot sit there and not appreciate what the Young Bucks have done for AEW. We went right from Nick and Fenix to Hikaru Shida and Britt Baker. I love Hikaru Shida. I think she's fucking awesome. I really do. She's my favorite female in all of AEW. And that's not saying a lot because they don't really have anybody, but it just makes me wonder. And I watch her work and I just watch just who she is and the personality. I don't understand why they went with Riho over Hikaru Shida to be the first AEW Women's Champion. It's like, I'm watching her work and I'm watching her total package, and then I watch Riho and I'm just sitting there scratching my head. Why? Why? Now, we could be set up for a Hikaru Shida match, and what I'm saying right now could be just null and void. But I don't know why anybody overlooked her for Riho. It's just very bizarre to me. Britt Baker. Britt Baker, we've seen her for a couple of months now. We've seen her on about, how many AEW Dynamites have there been? 8? We've seen Britt Baker on about 4 of them. And she's looked very good. She's looked very good. She's gotten better each and every time out. There's one thing about Britt Baker, watching her progress. There's one thing that is really holding Britt Baker back. And in some spots, she's lacking that intensity. And in some spots, and they're big spots, her timing is just completely off. And I don't know what she needs. She might need some Adam Cole Bay, you know, some extracurricular time with Adam Cole Bay to get that timing right. But the timing when she misses is just awful. It is just really noticeable and really bad. There was a moment in this match, and I don't want to skip ahead because I got my notes here. There was a moment in this match where I don't know what she was going for or what Shida was going for, but Britt Baker just stood there looking at Shida, and it took them a couple of seconds to transition into the next sequence. Shida just pulled out an eye rake because I don't know what Britt Baker was waiting for. She was just standing there waiting for something to happen. Now, it might have been a miscommunication. I don't know what the problem is, but Britt Baker needs to work on her timing. The progression of her moving up and getting better in the ring is there. It is very noticeable. But she might need some NXT before she goes to AEW. That's all I'm saying. So we got Shida and Britt Baker. We got both of these women in the top 5 for the women's ranking on AEW. They traded shoulder tackles at the start, leg sweep takedowns. Baker went for the lockjaw quick, but Shida was able to avoid and reach the ropes. Baker hit a clothesline. Then she used a vertical suplex for a 2 count. Baker used a chin lock to ground Shida. Baker ended up bleeding from the nose at this point. I don't know what happened. I might have missed it. But Baker ended up bleeding from her left nostril. And that was something on commentary. I don't know. I couldn't fucking hear them. I don't know if they were saying that she had a broken nose. It might have been stemmed from an earlier match that she had a couple of weeks ago where she might have broken her nose. I don't know. I couldn't hear the commentary. So just turn that dial up a little bit so I can hear Excalibur describe what I'm watching in the ring. So Shida sees this, and she gets some strikes on Baker in the corner. Baker rolled to the outside for a little breather, and Shida used a chair. Now, she didn't use a chair per se in the match, otherwise she would have got disqualified, but Shida, in the last couple of times that we've seen her, we've seen it with her match against Shauna. She used this same sequence, the same spot, and she used the same thing here against Britt Baker. She pulls a chair out from underneath the ring. She holds it up as if she's going to use it, and then she sets it up in the upright position and then uses it as a launching pad on top of Britt Baker. So she jumped off the chair to get some extra momentum and delivered a knee strike to Britt Baker, right to Baker's face. Baker came right back with a springboard arm drag, a sling blade in the ring, then a face buster. Very nice sequence by Britt Baker. She's got everything that you need, but it's just that timing. Baker went for a 2 count on Shida. Shida missed a running knee strike in the corner. Baker hit a draping DDT for a near fall. Shida hit another jumping knee strike in the corner. They traded strikes. Shida used a judo throw and a devastating backbreaker. I don't know what happened there. That looked to be a little off as well. She didn't get all of it, but the miscue actually made it look that much more devastating. So after the judo throw, that's backbreaker for a 2 count. Shida hit a running knee, went for another cover. Baker turned her over into the lockjaw, and Shida was desperately trying to get out of this and made the ropes pretty quickly. Baker then hit a beautiful swinging neck breaker, but Shida kicked out at 2. Shida blocked a thrust kick. Then she used the thumb to the eye, which I talked about. Baker was just standing there waiting for the next sequence, and she just poked Britt Baker in the eye. Shida used an inside cradle and a Falcon Arrow for a couple of near falls. Baker kicked out and then used another running knee and finally got the pin over Britt Baker. This is going to set up Britt Baker to be dropped down in the rankings, and it's going to be used to set up Hikaru Shida versus Riho for the next shot at the Women's Championship. So that should be very interesting, and if there is ever a time to take that title off of Riho, it is now against Hikaru Shida. Hopefully, AEW listens to the words that are coming out of my mouth. We got a Dark Order video package, which was really, really fun. Now, the only thing I have to question here, is why wasn't this done in the weeks leading up to their match in the tag team tournament? Why are we just getting this now? Now, AEW might have heard the cries on the Dark Order on social media. Oh, they're a great tag team, but they got no character. Oh, they're a great tag team, but they're boring. Oh, they're a great tag team, but Evil Uno looks like a fat slob. Whatever the case may be, I think Evil Uno and Stu Grayson are a phenomenal tag team. I really do. Now, the gimmick might be a little 80-ish, you know, it might be a little cheesy, might be WWE Superstars-esque, back when I was watching WWF Superstars on Fox 5 at 12 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. But regardless of all that, they're a great fucking tag team. So we had a vignette for the Dark Order. We see this fat slob wearing a backpack, and he's in the subway, and he's checking his glasses, and then we see these two thugs bump into him on purpose because he's a fat slob. He's a defenseless slob. So he drops his glasses, and then he purposely steps on this guy's glasses. So you're feeling sorry for him. Oh, now we can't see. Hopefully, he goes home and he's looking at his glasses and he's contemplating life at that point on a Monday night. Man, look at this. These guys actually helped me out. They helped me out. Now I can't watch Monday Night Raw because I can't fucking see, because I don't have my glasses. Me and my fucking 4 eyes. I can't watch Monday Night Raw. They did me a favor. I don't know. Maybe he's a WWE fan and maybe he's going to cry himself to sleep at the end of the night because he can't watch fucking Monday Night Raw. I don't know. So they start laughing at him and he walks away. Then the guy gets on the subway. He starts listening to a commercial. You know, you're sitting on the subway and you see one of those billboards on the opposite side of the wall, and the billboard is talking to him, and it's a commercial for the Dark Order. And it's basically a cult-like commercial. There is strength in numbers, this spokesman says. I actually thought this was, before the Dark Order logo showed up at the end of this thing, I thought this was a vignette for a new up-and-coming superstar in AEW. There is strength in numbers, this spokesman says. We will help you become just like one of us. And then we see the Join Dark Order hashtag, and he concludes this infomercial by saying, join us or we will find you. So up next, we have the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. The final 2 participants in this thing will fight next week for the AEW Diamond Ring, something that we still don't have proper information on. We don't know if it's just going to be a prop used on AEW television to build storylines. I got my own theories. We don't know if it's going to be a mid-card title of sorts. We don't know if it's going to be a Money in the Bank situation of sorts for AEW. Whoever wields the diamond ring gets a championship match of their choosing whenever they want. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's for. So hopefully there is information on it next week on Dynamite in Chicago. The Battle Royal entrants are as follows. We got Adam Page, Chuck Taylor, Orange Cassidy, Kip Sabian with Penelope Ford, of course, Jimmy Havoc and his staple gun, Jungle Boy, Marco Stunt, Pentagon Jr., Sonny Kiss, Joey Janela, MJF, and badass Billy Gunn. Yes, that Billy Gunn. DX Billy Gunn, who came out to the chants of holy shit. Crowd went crazy. Crowd went absolutely crazy. So Fenix came out, or what I thought was Fenix at the time, because the camera angle made us believe that it was Fenix. So good work there by AEW cameramen. Pentagon was in the ring. He was in the corner. He was doing his thing, right, in the corner. And someone wearing Rey Fenix's mask and an AEW hoodie came out and jumped on the apron. Now, I thought it was just Rey Fenix giving him a hug and just out there to be in his corner. Then the camera zooms in on this situation, and we come to find out that it wasn't really Rey Fenix. It was actually Christopher Daniels. So they're still continuing that storyline with SCU and the Lucha Brothers. They're not letting it go. They may be tag team champions, but SCU and Christopher Daniels, clearly, who was the one that they put on the shelf, the injured list, he ain't letting it go. So he caused an elimination early on. He unmasked himself. Pentagon didn't know what the fuck was going on. He was so excited. The commentary played it up. This is one thing I did hear. He was so excited about the Battle Royal and the idea of winning the Diamond Ring that he didn't even realize it was Rey Fenix. So Chucky T eliminated Pentagon as soon as the bell rung, thanks to Christopher Daniels. Then we get a twerk off with Sonny Kiss, or not a twerk off. Sonny Kiss was twerking for Billy Gunn. If Billy Gunn started twerking, I think I might have shut this thing off. Sonny Kiss was twerking for Billy Gunn. And I don't know what you really want me to say about this. I'll leave this to Jim Cornette to just shit all over on tomorrow's podcast and whenever he talks about AEW. The less said about Sonny Kiss, the better. This has no place in a wrestling ring. This has no place on fucking television. Get it off my television. MJF seen this and he tossed Sonny Kiss out of the ring. Good riddance. Good riddance. Crowd booed. I don't know why they're booing. That's a fucking thumbs up in my book. Billy Gunn then sends Marco Stunt out. Marco Stunt was in this thing. He jumped on the back of Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn sends him over the top rope like a fucking teddy bear. Jimmy Havoc was eliminated. And I don't know. Let me see. Who was Jimmy Havoc eliminated by? I don't know. Jimmy Havoc was eliminated by Billy Gunn. And it was a double team effort by Billy Gunn and MJF. So Jimmy Havoc gets eliminated. He grabs a staple gun from God knows where. And he starts stapling everybody with this staple gun. He staple guns Billy Gunn's forehead. He staple guns Kip Sabian's hand. He staple guns Joey Janela. Because, of course, why wouldn't he? So, there was a staple gun bonanza in this battle royal. Referees throw Havoc out of the match for using his weapon because he was eliminated. So, he came back in the ring and the referees escorted him out of the match. Janela goes to the top rope. In this thing, Shawn Spears comes out and interferes. Shawn Spears was not in this battle royal, which is surprising that fucking Sonny Kiss was in this thing and Shawn Spears was not in the battle royal. I guess they needed to find some work for Sonny Kiss. Shawn Spears comes out, he runs the ring apron with a steel chair and blasts Joey Janela in the face with a steel chair. He eliminates him and he falls off the top rope. Orange Cassidy is in this thing and he's in the corner. He was in the corner this entire match just watching. Just a bystander. Just a mere innocent spectator in this entire thing. Hands in the pockets. So he finally sees a spot where he decides, you know what? I'm going to do some work tonight. So he leaves the corner and he sees Billy Gunn in the middle of the ring. Now I know it took a lot of effort for Orange Cassidy, but he took his hands out of his pockets, put his hands up, and then he put his hands back in his pockets. Crowd was going crazy. Then he gave Billy Gunn the most devastating super kicks in the business. Orange Cassidy gave Billy Gunn his super kicks, and crowd was going crazy. MJF sees this. He walks over, and he takes him by the jeans and tosses him over the top rope. Crowd absolutely shit all over MJF. I loved it. I love the fact that Orange Cassidy is upsetting the populace week by week by his act. And I love the fact that MJF took what was something the crowd thoroughly enjoyed and said, fuck you. You're not going to enjoy this shit on my dime. I love it. So MJF dumps Cassidy out of the ring and he's doing, oh, you want to cry over it? Blow me. So MJF then starts shoving Billy Gunn. Gunn gives him some chops and a famouser. He throws MJF over the ropes, but MJF hangs on to the ropes. Gunn then picks MJF up off the ring apron, and Wardlow comes out for the distraction. There's the big man Wardlow. MJF with an eye rake. Page hits his buckshot lariat and sends Gunn goodbye out of the match. So we're down to Sabian, Page, Jungle Boy, and Chucky T. Now MJF, he was on the ring apron, and Wardlow caused the distraction and saved MJF from an elimination from Billy Gunn. So MJF took the role of Jerry the King Lawler at this point and went to go sleep on the outside. Everybody was like, we're down to the final four. I'm like, no, we're not, clowns. MJF is on the outside. Wardlow is over there. Who is he talking to? The Invisible Man? So MJF was there. There was 5 left, but 4 in the ring with MJF being on the outside. Taylor ends up on the apron. Ford holds his foot, and Sabian kicks him off for an elimination. So he gives Ford a kiss, turns around, Jungle Boy hits a Hurricanrana, sending him out of the match. MJF was hiding underneath the ring or on the opposite side of the ring away from the camera. He yanked Jungle Boy off the apron because Jungle Boy went over the top rope and he hung on to the rope, and he was on the apron, but he was over the top rope. So MJF comes over, yanks him off the apron. Goodbye, Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy's eliminated, and that was it. The bell rings, and we're getting MJF versus Adam Page next week on Dynamite in Chicago for the AEW Diamond Ring. Now, I don't know what this Diamond Ring is going to be for, like I said, but I do have my theory. I remember back in the day when Cody was in Ring of Honor, and he had the Ring of Honor. The Ring of Honor, right? And he had everybody kiss the ring. I think. Now, I could be wrong. I don't know if this is going to have a mainstay on AEW television. This is going to be brilliant for MJF to win this thing against Adam Page next week. It gives MJF bragging rights over everybody on the roster. It holds MJF in a certain position to a point where you don't really need him to win the AEW World Championship. There's no mid-card championship right now. This is going to buy the time for MJF on the main roster. He's going to have the AEW Diamond Ring. He's going to play this up, and he's going to make this shitty fucking gimmick, this Diamond Ring gimmick that they got with no information behind it. He's going to make it seem like the most prestigious thing in all of wrestling just because MJF has that power. And it's going to play up into the feud with Cody Rhodes because you know that's going to be the next match at the next pay-per-view. You know it's going to be MJF versus Cody. You know he's going to taunt Cody with the diamond ring, and he's going to force Cody to kiss the diamond ring like Cody used to do with everybody when he had the Ring of Honor. It's going to be awesome. This is going to build up. This is merely being done for Cody and MJF at the next pay-per-view. What happens to Page? Why can't Page win this? Well, A, MJF cannot lose, period. And B, MJF just left the Elite on being the Elite. If he continues down on this downward spiral all by himself, I'm more interested in Adam Page losing because I want to see where he ends up after just becoming frustrated he can't win anymore. That's all I give a shit about. This is going to work out great. Page can do what he's got to do. He's got his own little story going on, and this Diamond Ring is going to add yet another layer of story with Cody and MJF going into the next pay-per-view. This is brilliant stuff. Now, I hope we get some description on what the Diamond Ring is going to be about, hopefully in the days to come for AEW. Chris Jericho and Jake Hager. They see Peter Avalon and Leva Bates in the back, and they're talking to them during the commercial break. Back from commercial, Jericho and Hager make their way to the ring. Jericho is in the ring, and he tells everybody to sit down and shut up. He has an announcement to make. They start booing. He goes off, you want to boo the Le Champion? You want to boo me? So he's playing up the crowd. Jericho says he was fined. He was fined monetarily after last week's, hissy fit. After last week's match when he was pinned by Scorpio Sky and destroyed a bunch of stuff at ringside. Jericho tried to apologize for what he did, but he has some trouble. He can't get the word, I'm sorry, or he can't get the words, I'm sorry, out of his mouth. So he takes the microphone and says, I just want to let everybody know that I'm having a seizure. He's having a seizure. So he takes the microphone and he puts the microphone up to Jake Hager's mouth. And Jake Hager says, ladies and gentlemen, he is sorry. So he has Jake Hager say he's sorry for Chris Jericho. Because Jericho can't say it. He will not say it. He vomits at the thought of saying it. And this is great. This is great. Jericho announces next week in Chicago he will finally get a thank you he deserves from everybody, including the higher-ups in TNT and in AEW. He said it will be Chris Jericho's Thanksgiving thank you celebration. Jericho says he's and then Hager says sorry again. That his celebration won't be in front of the live crowd bumpkins, but they will see him looking good on TV next week. Now, one quick little piece of information here, a little attention to detail for you parasites out there that want to shit on AEW. Do you see Jericho going into last week's show undefeated? You see that he lost to Scorpio Sky in a tag team setting on last week's show. Jericho comes out, he's got a segment, he's got an important announcement this week. He shows up on TV this week. They're making a big stink. They're making it a priority to talk about that his record now has a blemish on it. He is no longer undefeated as world champion in AEW. He may be undefeated in singles, but he doesn't have a perfect record in AEW anymore. They're making a big deal about him losing. He lost last week. He walks into this week, and they're making it a big deal. Wow, folks, how lucky are we that we're watching a wrestling show that takes the littlest of things that should be the most important aspect of the show, these little pieces of information, and makes them into a big deal. Jericho lost last week. It was a big deal because he's the AEW World Champion. They go into this week and they're still hyping up the fact that the AEW World Champion lost on television. If this was WWE, the fucking World Champion would have lost, and come the next week, they wouldn't have mentioned anything about the World Champion losing on television. It's just another day at the office for fucking WWE on Raw and Smackdown. The difference between WWE and AEW is situations like this. So keep that in mind. SCU walks out. He's got Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian with him. Sky says Jericho forgot to mention why he threw that tantrum last week. It was because he pinned Jericho and gave him his first loss in AEW. Crowd is chanting, "You got pinned." Sky says his phone blew up after what he did. His DMs were blowing up. Even his old crush Melanie called him, and they're going out. They're going out. Crowd starts chanting Melanie. Sky says he didn't mean to embarrass Jericho. Jericho says he wasn't embarrassed, and he's seen Melanie. She gained a lot of weight since high school. Sky then responds, I like big butts, and I cannot lie. I don't know why they decided to bury Melanie on live television, but there you got it. Jericho says Sky is not in his league, but he wants a one-on-one match with Sky. I'm going to wipe the floor with you all around the arena, baby boy. Daniels then says, whoa, you can't make this a title match. We got to have a month before or a month training to have a match like this. Jericho says, well, what are you talking about? Jericho takes the bait and says, nope. How about next week? No, you know what? How about you got 1 week to get ready for me and the AEW Championship? Frankie Kazarian says to Sky, they better make sure it's not for the title because Jericho gets a bit weird about things like that. Jericho asks Sky if he wants a title match. Sky says no. Jericho says, well, that's too bad. You got a title match. And Jericho shakes his hand and says it's official. So SCU being little cunts in this promo here kind of, I guess, led Jericho on to giving them a title match. No, we need a month to think about it. We need a month training. Meanwhile, Jericho is still upset at the loss, clearly. And then Jericho says, you know what? You got it next week. And then Scorpio Sky says, well, I don't deserve a world championship match, even though I beat you last week. So Jericho says, you know what? It's going to be for the championship. You shook my hand, and now it's official. So I love the fact that you got SCU being fucking teenage pricks in this situation, just poking fun at Jericho and leading him on, and Jericho gives them, a match, and a world championship match at that, for Scorpio Sky next week on Dynamite in the main event. I thought this was great. So Sky then yanks Jericho in close, and then finally says to Jericho to close this thing, says Jericho may not think he has a chance, but I've been waiting 15 years for this chance. Next week, I just may beat you for the title and make Le Champion into Le Bitch. So the crowd went crazy over that. I started laughing. Everyone in the ring starts brawling. Santana Ortiz are out there with Sammy Guevara. They run out and beat up SCU with Jericho and Jake Hager. Michael Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler come out for absolutely no reason. They try to help. They get knocked off the apron to the floor. Jericho ends up hitting the Judas effect on Sky, which looked absolutely devastating. Knocked him out, and the rest of the group is taking care of SCU. So Marco Stunt comes out for absolutely no reason. Jericho immediately knocks him out. Jungle Boy follows, and he gets into the ring. He's dropped by Jericho. Then Luchasaurus gets in the ring and he stares it down with Jake Hager. Crowd is going nuts, chanting Luchasaurus. Jake Hager staring at Luchasaurus. He takes off his Casio watch, or the fucking $5 watch that he bought at Walmart, throws it into the crowd, hyping everybody up for this big fight feel, and then he leaves the ring like a typical prick. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So crowd is going crazy for this. Hager tossed his watch. He's ready to go. Then he backs away and slowly gets out of the ring. Now, I don't know what this did. I don't know what this is being teased for. But this could be the next feud, or this could be the entry of the Jurassic Express into the tag team title hunt. Because Luchasaurus is back. And the Inner Circle have a damn good tag team by the name of Proud and Powerful. So we'll see what happens. This actually led to Luchasaurus versus Peter Avalon with Leva Bates. This one ended in about a minute. It went a minute too long. Avalon cuts a quick promo. Then he was knocked out by a roundhouse kick. And that was it. Luchasaurus wins 1, 2, 3. Private Party versus Santana and Ortiz. We had Proud and Powerful versus Private Party. This was for the memory of Matt Travis, and I know for a fact Matt Travis is looking down on this, and he's very proud of what these four men did for him tonight. We had Santana and Ortiz come out wearing commemorative t-shirts with Matt Travis on it, and it was just a beautiful thing, man. So I want to thank the Young Bucks for this match. This meant a lot, not only to all four men in the ring tonight, this meant a lot to everybody in my House of Glory family. Because we all love Matt Travis, we all miss him greatly, and his memory will live on basically forever with all of us. Everything we do inside that House of Glory arena, everything we do inside that school, everything we do from this point on with the new direction that House of Glory is going in, it's all going to be with Matt Travis right there in our hearts, man. This was awesome. I love this match. I really did. If you look at Private Party and what they've done with a lot of the other teams that they've been in the ring with the Bucks, with the Lucha Brothers, with the, who else did they fight? The Dark Order, right? It was more of a situation with the Dark Order that I enjoyed their match, but with the Bucks, yeah, it was great. I'm not going to shit on it. It was fucking fantastic. Match with the Lucha Brothers, it was 120 miles an hour. It was great. They fit a 28-minute match into 12 minutes. But what we've seen here with these two teams, I love the fact that Santana and Ortiz slowed them down. I love the fact that Private Party is not going at it 1,000 miles an hour, that they were grounded and that they were trying to tell a story. A story of coming from behind, a story of just being beat down by the better team, the older team, the team with the most seniority, and they tried to mount a comeback in this thing. I loved the pace of this match. If there's one thing for me to really pick on here, I loved the pace of this match. Santana and Cassidy began. They traded shoulder tackles. Cassidy hit a hip toss, and Santana rolled to the outside. We go to commercial break. Back from commercial break, Quen and Ortiz are in the ring. Santana hit an avalanche Russian leg sweep. Ortiz hit a DDT. Santana got a tag and hit a bridging German for a 2 count as Cassidy came in for the save on Mark Quinn with a double foot stomp. Santana and Ortiz had this spot in the match where they played Ring Around the Rosie with Mark Quinn. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Vertical suplexes. Tag in, tag out. And they got Mark Quinn up in a vertical suplex position the entire time. They were trading off positions for about 120 seconds. A minute and a half here. Mark Quinn was upside down with all the blood rushing to his head. They went through this and they dropped him right down on the mat with I think it was a Falcon Arrow at the end of this thing. So Mark Quinn is absolutely getting destroyed right now. We go to another commercial break. Cassidy gets the hot tag. Finally, after Mark Quinn was grounded in their corner. Hit a springboard moonsault to the floor. Then he used a destroyer on Ortiz. He went for the cover. Ref held up his count because I think Ortiz was the illegal man. I'm not really sure. This is another one of those situations I put in my notes where the referee didn't know what was going on or there was a lapse of judgment. And again, the referees should call it as a shoot. I don't know what's going on, but I don't know if there was a miscommunication. I don't know if it was because Ortiz was supposed to kick out. I don't know if he was the illegal man. Something happened there where something was wrong. I don't know exactly what it was. So this looked like a botch of sorts. Quinn hit a dive on Santana. Private Party tried for silly string. And Mark Quinn could not hold Cassidy's weight up to springboard him back into the ring in mid-silly string. So I love the fact that Mark Quinn was holding his back, and his back was injured during this match, so he fell to the outside. His back gave out. We had Proud and Powerful hit a super kick powerbomb combo for a 2 count on Isaiah Cassidy. Santana hit Cassidy with a cutter for a near fall. Ortiz took the referee. Santana grabbed his, I think it was a sock. I think he grabbed the sock with the baseballs in it. Santana grabbed the sock, and Nick Jackson ran in, and he took the sock away from Santana. So Private Party then hit Gin and Juice out of nowhere due to this distraction from Nick Jackson. And my God, did fucking Santana sell this Gin and Juice. What a fucking cutter. What a cutter, man, by Isaiah Cassidy in Gin and Juice. Got the win, and Private Party beats Proud and Powerful for Matt Travis in this thing. Awesome match. Sammy Guevara ran down and they attacked Jackson after the match. Dustin Rhodes came in. He ran in for the save, hitting Proud and Powerful and Guevara with his cast on his broken hand. So these guys had a great match. They did have one botch. I don't like the fact that there was 2 commercial breaks in this thing. I really did not like the fact that there were 2 commercial breaks in this thing, but I am very grateful, and we should all be very grateful that Tony Khan, Matt, Nick, and Cody let those guys go out there and honor their fallen brother in Matt Travis. So it was awesome, and I'm glad we got to see it live on Dynamite tonight. We got next week's show. Pac versus Omega is official. Cody returns. MJF versus Hangman Page for the Diamond Ring. Jericho is going to have a pre-Thanksgiving thank you celebration, and he's going to be defending the AEW title on next week's show in the main event. So we're looking good for Dynamite next week, man. That is going to be awesome. Can't wait to see that. So Kenny Omega's working out. They show a video package of him. He's talking to the camera, says he's not a promo guy or a hardcore guy. You could have fooled me, but he's been doing these things and he hasn't done any of this stuff previously. Omega said people feel like he's lost his marbles. Feels like it came from losing to Pac. Omega says he's getting a chance for revenge next week. He goes back to working out, and we are going to see a rematch from All Out on next week's Dynamite in Chicago. So, same setting, same guys, gonna be awesome. Can't wait. Jon Moxley versus Darby Allin in the main event. We've seen footage of Darby Allin skateboarding on the big screen, and he was... I don't know if it was him, but a body in a body bag that had Mox written on it in big red letters was seen body surfing at a concert. Moxley is a crazy son of a bitch. So he called out somebody on the AEW roster last week, and this is the guy that stepped up to the plate, Darby Allin. So Darby Allin is carried out in this body bag that has Mox written across it. He gets carried out in this body bag. He unzips himself out of the body bag and skateboards down to the ring. Crowd is loving everything about Darby Allin. Moxley is coming through the crowd in his typical entrance. And then we got Darby Allin nailing him as soon as he jumps the barricade with his suicide dive. Bell hasn't even run yet, and we're off to the races here. Darby Allin dumps Moxley back into the crowd. They start brawling in and out of the crowd. Moxley looks to suplex Allin. He lands on his feet, leaps back over the barricade to drop Moxley back into the crowd. Going crazy. They're going to be brawling all over this arena. You knew this was going to be crazy. So we go from that sequence to Moxley picking up and dumping Allin to the floor. And then he drives Allin into the ring. And This is a match with, I believe, Moxley in the rankings, and Allin is in the rankings as well. So, this match is going to have a definite outcome in the rankings next week. So, Moxley tosses Allin in the ring. The bell finally rings. Allin goes to the top. He goes for a crossbody, but it's like he ran into a fucking tree. So, he jumped off the top rope for a crossbody. Moxley shoulder tackles him midair, drops him like a sack of potatoes, and then Moxley launches Allin across the ring, and we go to commercial break. So Allin hits a big crossbody eventually, and ends up going over the top rope. Moxley got caught in the top rope, eventually flopping down to the mat. Allin, with some shots to Moxley's face, shoves Moxley into the steel steps. So Allin slams Moxley hands down on the steps. They end up back in the ring. Allin drop kicks Moxley back to the floor. And crowd is chanting for Allin. Crowd is chanting for Moxley. You got two baby faces. I mentioned this last week. It's not going to be that bad because everybody loves Jon Moxley. Everybody loves Darby Allin. If Darby Allin puts up a big fight as a baby face against Jon Moxley and shows everybody how tough he is, it's going to end up being a win-win situation. So the split crowd reaction here really did not matter for Darby Allin and Jon Moxley. So Darby Allin's heading up to the top rope. Moxley stops him. Allin is able to jam Moxley's fingers in the section of the turnbuckle between the post and the pad, that little metal bar. His fingers are stuck in the fucking rod, and Allin is stepping on his hands. I cringed. So Moxley shoves Allin down, and he falls nasty back to the ring mat inside the ring. Allin tries to focus on the hand. He eats a release suplex. Then the body bag makes its way into the ring. And little did we know he was literally going to need this body bag at the end of the match. Moxley rolls Allin into the body bag and zips it up after this fall off the top rope. So he's in the body bag. Moxley then stomps out the body bag with Allin inside. So we got the referee trying to shove him away, trying to get Darby Allin out of there. He unzips the bag, and the crowd starts booing the referee because he unzipped the bag. Moxley pulls him out of it. Allin is able to hit a over-the-top stunner on Jon Moxley, but he eats a sidewalk slam. So Moxley delivered a beautiful sidewalk slam. Moxley tries for the paradigm shift. Moxley misses it, or he was countered. Moxley then charges in the corner. He hits the ring post. Darby Allin moved out of the way. Darby Allin goes for a quick cover. Only a 2 count. So we got Allin ramping up the offense here. He goes up top, goes for the coffin drop, but he goes right into a sleeper. Off the top rope, Moxley catches him in the coffin drop into a sleeper. Beautiful fucking spot. Allin leans back for a pin attempt, pinning Moxley's shoulders down. Only a 2 count. Moxley and Allin on the second rope. He twists Moxley's fingers, being that his fingers were being worked on in the turnbuckle rod earlier in the match. But Moxley bites his face off and hits a second rope paradigm shift for the win. I sat there for a couple of seconds with my fucking mouth wide open after this move. Holy shit. They showed a replay of it. It looked even worse in the replay. His head was driven into the mat off the second rope with a paradigm shift. Jon Moxley wins via pinfall. And then he yells into the camera, "Who is at the top of the food chain now?" I love this episode. I thought it was awesome. Jon Moxley is great. I'm loving Jon Moxley. Jonathan Good has never looked as good as he does now. All the years of Dean Ambrose is slowly being washed away. All those bad years, I should say. There were some good with Dean Ambrose, but all those bad years of Dean Ambrose are being washed away. Dean Ambrose is looking as dominant as anybody in professional wrestling right now. Jon Moxley is looking like AEW's version of Brock Lesnar. He's looking like AEW's version of The Fiend right now. He is simply untouchable. There's a reason why they made that match against Omega unsanctioned. They don't want him to lose. They also don't want Kenny Omega to start accumulating more losses than he has to as well. But Jon Moxley is undefeated. Jon Moxley is their biggest priority right now. Chris Jericho may be the AEW World Champion. But if there's anybody on that roster, and I mentioned this, Jericho is the World Champion for a reason right now. with the way Moxley is going, if Jericho is to lose that championship to anybody, it's going to be against Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley right now is so hot and being built up so beautifully in AEW that they are positioning him next in line out of everybody else to take that title off of Chris Jericho. There is nobody else on that roster. Not Omega, not MJF, not Cody, not anybody on that roster that is built up enough. Pac, Page, none of them over Moxley to take that title off of Chris Jericho. Give that title to Moxley, let him run with it through WrestleMania weekend, and then that's where you get Moxley Omega again for the World Championship and have him drop the title to Kenny Omega. Kenny will get his victory back over Jon Moxley. It will count this time. And Moxley will suffer his first loss in AEW, and he will drop the title to Kenny Omega. And there you go. That's what I think the direction is for Jon Moxley. A lot of people saying give it to MJF. MJF is so young. He's 23 years old. He doesn't need the championship. He'll have multiple reigns as world champion. Believe me, Jon Moxley right now is their priority. Moxley and Omega is the match. It's not over by any stretch. That's your match WrestleMania weekend, and that's what they do. Omega's going to be your new AEW champion, and that's the storyline that it's going to come out from. That's my prediction on that. But Moxley's looking great. This was a fun match. Darby Allin loses nothing here at all. And Jon Moxley is as dominant as anybody in the business right now. You got to love the booking and the creative right now in AEW. They are hitting their stride. No question. Guys, thank you so very much for all your support. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you missed any of my other content right here on the channel, make sure you guys go and check all of that stuff out down below. Follow me on Twitter at JD2MY206. Follow me on Instagram at JD2MY206. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. I would greatly appreciate it. And make sure you guys check out Patreon.com. Support Patreon if you can. If you guys want to show some extra appreciation for what I do right here on the channel. Also, Audible. Check out my good friends over at Audible. Audibletrial.com/Off The Script. And I am getting out of here, guys. I got NXT to watch. I heard it was a fantastic show as always. Not surprising there. We got one more show before the Survivor Series after tonight on Friday with Smackdown. God help us all. And I'm going to go watch NXT, and I'll see you guys right back here tomorrow morning on the NXT podcast. Have a cold beverage for me, guys, and I'll see you right back here for NXT on Off The Script. See you guys then.